Alright, today I'm going to demonstrate the KAS Winch Mod. It's one of my favorite mods, but it's a little complicated to use. So I'm going to go through the parts. They're all in the utility section. They start here with the connector part and end with a vertical stack winch. So I'm using this truck as a demonstration because I already had it built and it's got some winches on it already. It's actually testing for some stuff I want to send to Duna. So I needed to prove the concept here first. We got some KAS mod stuff here. We got a drill, storage tank, and this is a converter. We got a KAS storage tank here, converter, and then liquid fuel. It's just a proof of concept thing. We also got damned robotics mod for these hinges, and the hell was it? Some sort of truck pack. If you care enough, I'll put a link in the description. I can't remember what the hell it's called now. Oh well. Okay, so to start off, there are two types of winch. There's this one, which shoots off to the side, and then there's one that shoots straight up, which I have mounted on the back of this trailer, so you can see this here. This one shoots straight out. This one shoots off to the side. Now, you have to note that they do not come with this piece here, the connector. I don't know why. It probably should come with it, because you always need it. You just always got to put it in, and you got to make sure you put it in the right way. This is not the right way. You got to have the teeth, the three, you know, whatever I call them, teeth. You got to have those on the outside. There are three pieces you can put on. One of the new ones is an anchor. You can deploy it and it slows you down like you would expect an anchor to do. I'll demonstrate these in the next part. You got a grappling hook, which is cool. You shoot it out and it attaches to whatever it collides with. And then you have a magnet, an electromagnet, so you can turn the magnet on and off. I do believe it takes electric resource, so you have to be careful how much of that you use. You just gotta design around it. You can see I have a bunch of batteries on my truck. Yeah, and then we have these radial connector ports. There's two of them. One of them is dismountable, which I'll explain later, and then a stack connector port. The stack connector port is stronger than the radial connector port, but the only difference other than that is just how you mount them. You can see a radial one is here, but you can't put a stack connector there. You can put a stack, that's backwards. You can put a stack connector on mounting points. And their use I'll explain in a minute, but basically you can connect the winch to them. And then the only other thing here, which is really cool, is these storage bins. These are all upside down. And now it's gone. Where the hell did it go? Don't do it again. It's not getting under here. Ah, shit. Okay. How the hell am I gonna get? You know what? It can stay. I don't really care. It's three dismountable radial connector ports. Getting all tongue-tied today. If it's slightly out, it will work, but it's not really supposed to be there. It's supposed to be in further like these. It doesn't matter, it'll stay. You can also put in these, which I'm going to do in a second here, is put on the different winch connectors. And the reason that's useful is because you can switch the attachments on the winch using an EVA. So you can get your guy out for some for a spacewalk, and he can switch them out for you. My demonstration will be on the ground today, but you can just as easily do it in orbit. So I'm going to put a magnet here. And I am going to put an anchor in here. And a grappling hook in here. Those look the same. Oh no, they're not. Very similar looking pieces. So what we have here is the truck that I showed you in the lab with the two trailers detached. I have no control over these trailers now. This one has solar panels, this one has some mining capabilities, but they are, as far as we're concerned, they are separate ships. In orbit, on the ground, doesn't matter. And we'll get to those in a second. So the first thing that you want to do in order to use the winch is to show the GUI. It's kind of a big panel. It's kind of hard to figure out where to put it, but I usually put it right here. You can close it again. You only need it open when you're using it, so it's not too bad. I wish I could put it on another screen because I've got a couple of those, but you can't do that as far as I know. But anyways, let's go over the controls here. The release button, you basically just let the line go. I'm going to release the winch that I have up here on the crane. You can see it just drops under its own weight. And if you want to lock that cable back to that length, you deselect the release button. I have another winch on the back of this truck, and when you use the eject button, it shoots it out, which is pretty awesome. It makes a funny sound. These buttons and these buttons, the arrows on either side, control the length of your winch. It basically controls the motor of the winch. The double arrow is a toggle. The single arrow is a momentary. So if you hold in the momentary arrow, it'll retract the winch slowly. If you want to retract it and do something else, you can hit the toggle. The left number here is the total length of your cable. Nothing else to say about that. The right number is the strain, basically, or as I put it, the stretch or the slack. If it's yellow and positive, you have slack in the line. If you have a pink negative number, that's how much it's stretching. It's useful to know that because the animation doesn't show slack in the line. It's always a straight line, but that's fine. By the way, the weird voices you're hearing is from the Chatterer mod. Adds some life to your missions. It's kind of useless, but it's kind of funny. Anyways, back to business. The docked button is basically a selectable docking status. You can undock the component on your winch, which I don't recommend because it'll treat that part, even though you're still connected, it'll treat that grappling hook or magnet or anchor as debris or another ship, I guess. And that goes for whether it's attached to something or not. It can be useful, and it might throw you off. So it's important to know what that does. Unplug is just that. You unplug the connector from either an anchor, winch, an anchor, grappling hook, magnet, or one of those mountable connector ports, which we'll look at later. This button here, which is grayed out because we don't have any connectors on, they're different for each component. Usually it's a detach option, which will basically detach like the grappling hook from whatever it's grabbed onto, or detach your the connector from the other ship's mounted connector port, or if you have a magnet, it'll say magnetize, I think, but it basically controls whether the magnet is on or not. And I don't think anchor has anything because the anchor is just an anchor. So that's everything from the GUI. Now you can also do some things outside of the truck on an EVA, which is probably the best part about this mod. So let's go on an EVA with Tomton? It's a weird name. Let's use him. Drop him on his head. Oh, denied. Guess we're not going to drop him on his head. Alright, so one of the most basic, but I think the most useful features of this mod is for spacewalking. And you can literally, if you get close enough to this, you can control it. Don't make me a liar. There we go. You can grab the connector, and there we go. We are tethered to the ship. Now in a spacewalk, you can imagine how important this could be. No longer will you lose your ship. If you get out of control, you'll have plenty of time to regain your control because you're not going anywhere. You'll get out to the maximum, the maximum length of this, which is either 50 or 60 or 100 or something. It's between 50 and 100. And that's it. So, you can imagine how helpful that would be. But it does, the EVA, you can do a lot more on EVA than just that. Guess I can just put it back. Still discovering a lot of this. If you get close enough to the winch, you can also do some options here to extend, retract, release. Release just drops it under its weight again. Extend is powered extend, and it's a toggle button. Remember that, because when you retract it, it's all good until it starts moving again, and then it's like impossible to turn it off again. So if you use the EVA retract button, just assume that it's going back all the way, and that's it, because it's a pain in the butt to stop. I can't remember. Let's release that and then grab it. So we're on a spacewalk again. Simulated spacewalk. I can't remember if I click on it again. Yes. Once you're connected, if you right click on the connector again, you can drop it where you are, or you can extend, retract, or release. Like say you only wanted to get out this far. You can toggle that winch release maybe not. Well, you can retract it a little bit and then you'll be stuck there. So I can no longer go any further. I can extend it to extend myself a little bit, or if you hit the release, it'll just give you slack as you want it. slack will stay there. It doesn't auto-retract when you go back towards the winch. So I'm going to drop that there. One of the other things you can do on an EVA is change the connectors on the winch. I'll put a magnet on the crane that's hanging there, which I stored right here. So we walk up to it and press grab. You wear it on your back. And we walk up here. And we want to plug it docked. So now we have the magnet there. And while I'm at it, oh yes, my run key activates the magnet. But it probably won't be that way for you unless you use the number pad 0 key as your run button. Okay, I've got the anchor here. Doesn't look like I'm straining too much, so it must not be too heavy of an anchor. And I'm going to attach that docked there. So I'm going to go back in the truck. I'm going to show you how the magnet works. And I'm going to show you how the anchor works. Okay, so as you can see, because I attached them docked, we have the docked option selected. Now with the magnet, I can undock it, redock it. Doesn't really make much of a difference. It matters more with the radial ports connecting to another ship like this one. But last time I had actually had a grappling hook resting on the runway here, and I undocked it. It fell through the ground, and it made things blow up when I tried to retract it. So don't play with it unless you need to. And again, I can unplug my things here. As if my guy was on EVA and he took it off, I could just drop the magnet right here or drop the anchor right there. And then this button here is for the magnet, which I was also controlling before with my key, which I think might be a bug, to activate the magnet. Now if I look up here, the magnet draws current. So if you don't have a whole lot of batteries, be careful, because it will drain pretty fast. I've got solar panels here, so my total charge is staying the same. But anyways, let's see what we can do with this magnet. Actually, first, I'm going to just drive forward and show you that the anchor doesn't let me drive very fast. Get out here in the grass. Oh, it's bouncing. I'm going to release it some more. That's good. Now normally this truck can drive at like 40, 50 meters per second. I'm only able to go 4.1 now with the anchor. I haven't used the anchor for anything yet, but I can envision applications like slowing down an airplane, or even using it to keep an airplane in one spot when you're not flying it. Kind of like chalking the wheels. If you have some sort of airship, splendid, I don't know what that was. If you have an airship mod, that was my grappling hook. As I was saying, if you have an airship mod, you can use it for something like that. I'm not into airships personally. I think they're kind of silly for a space program. By the way, I can still show you the grappling hook because I took one off before I started the video. So that's that. going to retract that guy. Oops, wrong one. Retract. Here we go. Sort of only half paying attention to my driving because I didn't want the anchor to tear my frame apart. It usually goes through. You have to worry more with the grappling hook. So, as you can see, the magnet's not really doing a whole lot, but that's what we expect. So if I release the magnet down closer to that ship and activate the magnet, there we go. Get it close enough and it will attach. I don't remember the strength of the magnet, but it's pretty strong. I could lift this. This tank is empty though, remember, so it's not too heavy, but I can lift it up without, a little bit of a visual bug there because it's an elastic connection, but I can lift that up, and then if I demagnetize, I let it go. Now I'm done with the magnet, so I'm going to unplug it. Just like that. And if I was able to get a Kerbal up there, I could probably pick it up again if I needed it. But I'm not too worried about it. Let's release this again. Leave it about there. I'm going to go on another EVA to get that anchor. See if I can clear the wheel. Good enough. Where did I put you? There it is. I'll attach this. Hard with it waving around like that, but we can. There we go. Got it on docked. Grappling hook is my personal favorite, by the way. It is very useful for rendezvousing. If you're not very good at rendezvousing in orbit, you get up close to another ship and it doesn't really matter as long as you can point at it and shoot the grappling hook. You'll be attached. Now I'm going to rediscover here whether we can dock and trade resources, and I'll be able to test that by if I can play with the suspension on this. Then I know we're docked. Oh, another mod I'm going to show you is this camera. The laser mountable laser cam, I guess. I forget who makes it again. Again, I can put the link up if I have to. It's pointing in the direction that I'm launching, so I'm not going to play with the position, but you can pan and tilt the camera to any direction you want. It's great for some visuals on launches, or if you have a rover, unmanned rover or something. Okay, so we're going to try and aim. Let's bring it in position so we can actually see what's going on here. Don't need this to be extended out. let's try that. We're going to eject the grappling hook. Bullseye. Now we are connected. Now I don't think... Nope. Even though we're docked to the grappling hook is not docked to the trailer. So I cannot play with any of its pieces. But that's not what it's for. The grappling hook is for grabbing onto things. If I wanted to pull this guy, I could probably flip myself over doing it. So I will detach. And I might have mentioned this before, but you have to be very careful with the grappling hook because you can grapple yourself. And if you're in the process of retracting a grappling hook and it gets attached to something, you can pull your ship apart. So it's a little dangerous in that respect, but just take your time. You'll have nothing to worry about. Okay, so the only thing left to show you is those connector ports that are already installed on other ships. Get up, you. So we'll use this winch back here. We're going to unplug that anchor that almost hit me in the head. But we're going to leave it there. And I am going to release the connector. And now I'm going to grab it. And we're going to bring it over to this trailer. Now I have installed in the assembly lab this radial connector port. And I'm going to plug it in undocked. And again, plugging it in undocked means I can't transfer any resources or control any of its components. We are still two separate ships. But with the GUI, I'll be able to dock us. And you can do it from the EVA if you wanted to. But for the tutorial's sake, you can see that it's not docked. Grappling hook is, but that's a different winch. So if we dock it, camera points to our center of mass, which is in between, and I can now control both pieces. See, I got the steering and the drive wheels here, and I've got the hydraulic wheels on the trailer. And I have both resources. I got the empty cathane tank and the electric charge, overall electric charge. I think it was 2700 without the trailer. You remember the stack connector port goes onto a mounting point. I didn't leave that on, I don't think, but that works exactly the same way. I like to use these and pretend that it's a power cable. So I have this trailer over here that has all these solar panels. So in order to get the electricity to charge, a bunch of batteries that need charging, I would basically plug in. It's kind of fun that way. So I can unplug the radial connector port again, and now we're two separate ships again. I could have pressed the docked button to undock us so that we were no longer sharing resources but still connected together. I could have done that as well. The last thing that is useful in this mod that I haven't shown you yet is, say you have a ship already on a planet or in an orbit that doesn't have a radial connector port. Say, maybe you downloaded this mod and you have other ships already in orbit that, you didn't get a chance to put connectors on. Or, if you forgot to put a connector on. Well, that's where these things come into play, and I always pack a couple of these when I have a winch on board. It's a dismountable radial stack connector. Sorry, just a radial connector port. There's no dismountable stack ones, but not really necessary anyways. These are not quite as strong as the permanent ones, but being able to do this is just too useful. So you go up to whatever you want to mount it on, get kind of close, and you can either press H or right click on the connector port and click on attach. And you see I can attach it somewhere up here. I think when it's yellow it's too far away from you, and if it's red I don't think it's possible to mount there at all. Maybe it just won't show up. But I can connect it right there. And there it is. I just connected on a ship that I have no control over at the moment. And I'm going to dock with them now. So you could go up to a ship that's already in orbit. Maybe it's, maybe it's a ship that you accidentally depleted all the electricity on. It doesn't have any docking ports on it, and it's up there dormant. You can't do anything with it anymore. And maybe it's full of fuel and it feels like a total loss. Well, now you can use this mod to attach one of these dismountable connector ports onto it, and then fly a ship up and dock with the winch. You dock with the winch, and now you can, charge it up, open its panels if that hadn't been done. Oh yes, this. I don't know what this is about. This might just be these trailers. Those wheels won't go down. That's not a weight thing. I think it's a bug between two mods. I haven't really looked into fixing it yet, but you understand what this does. There's nothing else to really show. Lots of EVA related things that are very, very useful. Oh, you can take it off too. It doesn't have to stay there. You can move them around. That's the whole point of them. Oops. Probably safer to use these in in orbit where stuff can't fall through the ground. But I accidentally grabbed the connector port instead of the connector, and the connector went through the ground, and now it's swinging like a pendulum. But because I don't have an anchor or a grappling hook or a magnet on it, I should be able to pull it up again. If I can even get into this stupid levitating ship. There we go. I had to jump and grab onto the ladder. Oh, so stupid. Well, let's just see if we can get our winch back. There's a chance it'll blow up, but I hope it doesn't, because that would be bad. Nope, because it's part of my ship. If it was something undocked, we might have a problem. And I think that's why in my previous attempt I blew up the winch with the connector attached, because I had an undocked grappling hook that it was trying to grab through the ground, and Yeah, bad news. So that is the KAS Winch Mod. I don't have a catchphrase, but have fun.